Hi people, it's me Anja. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new book tag. Today's book tag is the Can't Say I Didn't Try book tag. So let's just get started. The first question is, what's a book that you should have DNF'd? There are two books that first come to mind, and they are The Last Magician and Passenger. These two books are both YA historical fiction books that deal with time travel, and I never continued either of these series. I never read the sequel to Passenger. I never read the other two books in the Last Magician trilogy, because these two books deal with time travel, and they do not deal with it very well. You know, like the time travel in these books confused me so much. I didn't really understand what was going on, and I really should have DNF'd it the moment that I understood that I didn't understand what was going on. So, yeah. The second question is, most books you've read without finishing the series. Probably honestly one or two, because frankly I don't read a lot of series that are longer than 3 books, and second of all, I'm very good at DNFing series. So yes. The third question is, who's a hyped author that you can't get along with? Probably people like J. Kristoff and Emily A. Duncan. So yeah. A fourth question is, a genre you rarely read from. I would say that I rarely read like thrillers or like romance-driven stories. You know what I mean? Like many of the stories I do read are like fantasy or contemporary historical fiction, so they do have like a romantic storyline in it, you know? But it's not like strictly romance-driven. You know? I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway, probably romance or thrillers. So yeah. The fifth question is, most elusive book. A book or an edition that you can't find. Honestly, I don't have an answer for this one, because I'm very privileged to say that whenever I really want to read a book, I can find it pretty quickly in my library systems. So, yay. Lucky me. The next question is, what's a book or author that keeps being recommended to you, but you know you won't enjoy? Honestly, I don't think I have an answer for this one either, because honestly, I don't receive book recommendations as much as I give book recommendations, you know what I mean? Because since I have a reputation for reading so many books so fast, most of the books that people do recommend to me are books that I've already read or DNF'd or I know that I'm not interested in at all. But like with the third like option, you know, like I don't get book recommendations that often. So I don't really have an answer for this one. But I guess I would say a book that I see all over my Twitter timeline that I know that I'm not interested in, that I already mentioned in a previous book tag, is like The Poppy Wall. You know, this book is an adult fantasy, I believe. I think that it's an Asian, like, historical fantasy too. I think maybe it's not strictly a historical fantasy, and maybe it's just inspired by actual Asian history. I know for sure that the author is Asian. Anyway, I know I'm not interested in this series because it's adult, and I know that there's so many trigger warnings on it that I just really don't want to read it. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's that. The next question is, what's a book that has a better cover in a different language? Honestly, I have no idea, because I don't spend a whole lot of time looking at foreign editions of books. Because as a person who doesn't buy books, I barely pay attention to what the books look like in my own country. So I really don't know what the foreign editions of a book look like. And I feel like even if I did buy books and collect books, I wouldn't collect foreign editions, because I personally don't really see a point in collecting foreign editions of a book that I can't read. You know what I mean? Like, English is the only language that I read in, so even if I collected foreign editions that were like French or Russian or Spanish or something like that, I wouldn't be able to read them, so I wouldn't really see a point in having the book. You know? So, yeah. The next question is, what's a book that you've only seen the film/TV show adaptation of? Honestly, I feel like I don't really watch film/TV show adaptations of a book that I'm not interested in. You know? So, I guess a book that I've only seen the film/TV show adaptation of accidentally is like Crazy Rich Asians. You know, like when I was watching this film, I don't think I knew that it was originally a book. You know, like even though it probably says that in the beginning credits or something like that, I don't think I paid much attention to that. So I don't think I knew that it was a book before I saw the film. So that's why that's the only answer that comes to mind. So, yeah. The film was great, by the way. Anyway, The next question is, what's a book that you wouldn't watch if it got adapted? So the first thing that comes to mind is that I have absolutely no interest in watching the Court of Thorns and Roses TV show. I've heard that it's coming. I know that some people are very excited for it, and some people are thinking that it's going to flop. But me personally, I'm not going to watch it. I wish that I hadn't read this trilogy. I wish that I could erase this trilogy from my mind, but unfortunately I can't, because it's so popular that I see it all the time on Book Twitter, because at least one person is reading it all the time, especially since the new one came out a few months ago. So yeah, there's that. I'm not watching that TV show. I have no interest in it, absolutely at all. I would rather watch some other like racially diverse book series or TV series or something, you know what I mean? Like, I would rather rewatch the entirety of like Sheila or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or even Phineas and Ferb instead of watching the Akatar TV series. Anyway, the next question is, what's a series that shouldn't have continued? Honestly, I don't have an answer for this one either, and I'm thinking that this video is going to be quite boring because I keep not having answers for these questions. But anyway, I don't really have a book series that shouldn't have continued, because just because like I didn't personally continue with it doesn't mean that it shouldn't have continued. You know, like just because a book series is not my personal cup of tea doesn't mean that like other people didn't love it. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but like just because I didn't like a book personally doesn't mean that it can't be well loved. You know? Anyway, the last question is, what's a trope that prevents you from reading a book? So, honestly, like even thinking about my least favorite tropes, which are like insta-love and like love triangles and stuff like that, I wouldn't say that they absolutely prevent me from reading a book, because typically even if a book has my least favorite tropes in it, it typically has like some other like intriguing element in it that makes it sound more exciting, and I can just ignore the fact that there's a love triangle in it. You know what I mean? So I feel like I don't really have an answer for this one, because typically what prevents me from reading a book has really nothing to do with the tropes in it. It typically has more to do with like the author who's writing it, or the synopsis, or the genre, or something like that. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's the end of this little book tag. I answered 11 questions in almost 7.5 minutes. So yeah, like I said at the beginning of this video, consider yourself tagged. If you want to do this video, I'll link the original tag video in the description below. If you like this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the rhino emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.